What's up, world? My name is Sarah and welcome back to another episode of whatever it is that we're doing here. I think the little eyes, that's how I shop.
Pun intended.
Cookie eating mouth, relatively small pumpkin, 2 or 3 or 4, it's easier to control. Let's wiggle this thing off. The guest of honor can arrive. Sweaty stuff to kind of scrape instead of trying to use a pen. Party platter.
Oh, that looks pretty good.
A whole disaster. This time I wanted to keep it Happy Halloween, kid friendly. All right, let's cut some cheese. Bob Ross, follow the Bob Ross video. Just like in the New Year's Eve, I can't wait to make a blue pumpkin, extra pizzazz to the whole spread. A little fur, anything and everything together. Straight through, I was gonna say lid, but that's the bottom.
Oh no!
In today's video, we are attacking a Halloween party platter spread, and our main character is going to be the Cookie Monster. Now you're looking at this yellow pumpkin and thinking, what? Well, I saw a couple of inspirational pictures online and I can't wait to make a blue pumpkin, a Cookie Monster, who's going to be our guest of honor for our party spread. So we ended up going to a couple of different grocery stores due to one store had other things that I wanted and the other store had other things that I wanted, and that's how I shop. And we got a bunch of very fun and exciting ingredients for our party spread for today. Now, first things first, we are going to carve the Cookie Monster pumpkin. I'm going to cut the top off, dig out all the guts. I'm gonna make a big opening for his big smiley cookie eating mouth. I have some styrofoam balls that we're going to also add as his eyes, and of course he's going to be blue because Cookie Monster is blue. We're gonna set the Cookie Monster aside to dry so we can assemble our party mixture goodie cheese board platter, and then the guest of honor can arrive and we'll set him as part of the spread. Okay, for the Cookie Monster pumpkin, we need the pumpkin. I have a almost perfectly round, relatively small pumpkin. I have a small knife, a spoon. I also have the paints that I'm going to need. Blue for the actual pumpkin, black for the styrofoam eyeballs. I got a couple of painting brushes and like a sponge brush I've used. Now, if you saw me do the Bob Ross, follow the Bob Ross video, these are some of the paints and tools that I used for that. I also have some paper for the guts to fall out on and a tray that I might use for the display at the end. We'll see kind of as we go when we make the display where we're gonna put our Cookie Monster. Okay, first things first, I'm going to cut the top part of the pumpkin, and what you wanna do is cut down on an angle. That way when you put the lid back on, it'll actually stay on. If you just cut straight through, it won't sit nicely, so something to keep in mind. And it's a little wobbly, but we'll be careful. I like to use a small knife when I carve pumpkins because it's easier to control. There are actually pumpkin carving tools, but I never bother with them. Slowly, you don't want to rush yourself. Now, I'm not sure if this is a decorative pumpkin because it's so small, and therefore can you eat the seeds or not, but today we are using him for the Cookie Monster pumpkin. All right, let's wiggle this thing off. Oh, yeah, it looks real. Yeah, all right, now let's dig the guts out. So I just take a spoon and gradually, it's kind of like not hair, but very fine vegetable stringy consistency.
Getting a workout?
I am getting a workout. This is relatively sweaty stuff. If you think about pumpkin spice drinks and candles and whatever pumpkin spice, that's not what it smells like. Now, if you were to carve a pumpkin to put like a candle in, you would carve maybe a little more of the actual vegetable meat out. But because we are just going to paint ours, I'm now going to carve out a big mouth. And that's it. We'll start painting. Now, for the mouth, what I want to do is have a relatively big opening because Cookie Monster's mouth is big, so he can fit all the cookies. I'm debating if I want to do a little bit of a zigzag on the top part. So let's see. I think I'm going to get a carving knife to kind of scrape instead of trying to use a pen. Scrape kind of like a guideline. Let's see if I can. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, let's see what we can do. Baby steps. We can always make it bigger, so. Oh, that looks pretty good. All right, now that the hole is there, the general mouth, I'm just going to tidy up some of the edges to make them crisp and clean. Not too much. I don't want to dig out too much, just to not take the whole thing apart. Our pumpkin is ready to be painted. I have acrylic blue acrylic paint. I'm going to use the bottom of one of my plastic containers that I use for my arts and crafts. Just daub a little bit of paint on top of the, I was going to say lid, but that's the bottom, and then use either or of the brushes that I have to see kind of which one does the job. And we're just going to paint the outside and of course the top. Usually you need way less paint than you think you're going to need, so let's see if that's going to be enough. I'm going to start with the brush.
It's perfect blue for monster.
Right? It's going on pretty nicely. We might do a couple of coats depending on how it looks. You could add little fur textures to it, then there you go. Okay, first coat for the base down. I'm gonna let that dry for a couple of minutes and do the top.
More paint?
A little more paint. Finish the job. All right, last little bit for the second coat for the top, and then we can set it aside and let it dry. Now, acrylic paint won't take too long to dry, and while it dries, we will set our party platter ready. Here I am getting ahead of myself. We need to make the eyes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use a marker, black marker, to trace the black of the eyeball eye onto the styrofoam, and then I will use the acrylic paint to fill in the circle. I think that's gonna be the easiest, because if I go and try and paint a perfect circle, which I can't do with the pen either, the brush is just gonna be a whole disaster. Pretty good. He has googly eyes, so if they are not perfect, it'll just add to the character. Okay, now we can actually make our cheese platter. If you've had a chance to see our New Year's Eve cheese and meat platter, you know that it can get kind of crazy. But today I wanted to keep it relatively simple, not have too many things to put on the platter. And that of course is determined by how many people are going to be eating this and how hungry they are. And this time I wanted to keep it kind of kid friendly. I do have olives, not all kids love olives, but of course that's up to the child, what the kid likes to eat and what the grown-up likes to eat. So even though this is a kid-friendly spread, it might not be kid-friendly for your kid or the kids that you know. So let me just show you what I got. So we have cookies for the Cookie Monsters. They are traditional chocolate chip cookies. I have some tomatoes, some black licorice, fig jam that's gonna go good with some of the cheeses that we have. I also have some edible eyes for the spread. We're gonna decorate a couple of things. And I have a bunch of cookie cutters. Some of them are Halloween themed. We're gonna use these to cut some of the cheese. And I have a smaller set of cookie cutters that we're gonna use for watermelon. We have 3 types of cheese, this white soft cheese, some mature cheddar, and a yellow cheese. I also have a bunch of grapes, the mentioned watermelon. How cute is this small watermelon? I also have some green olives that have been stuffed with garlic, which is to my liking. I found this fun kind of pretzel popcorn chocolate covered mix that I thought would look super duper fun with this spread. The store also had some sour cream flavored little snacks. I'm not sure if they're potato chip snacks or what, but these are gonna look super cute on the spread with some blue tortilla chips. Now, obviously not all stores are going to have these particular items and you can cater it to your liking, but I think this spread is going to look fun and festive for the holiday of Halloween. All right, let's cut some cheese and make our spread. So I think I want to start out by cutting the cheese with the cookie cutters. I think I'm going to do pumpkin with cheddar, the bat with the yellow cheese, and the ghost with the soft white cheese. The only thing is, has to go all the way through, right? Don't worry about the excess cheese. It will find its way into a casserole or some kind of grilled cheese or just as is. Okay, next up is the watermelon. I'm gonna cut some slices and then cut with the cookie cutters some little bite-sized pieces. Watermelon always reminds me of my grandparents. So now that we have everything ready to go and to be assembled together, just like in the New Year's Eve cheese platter video, there's no real way to do this. So the way I usually do is I start with larger pieces and then fill in the gaps with smaller pieces. And what I mean by that is I take kind of the main ingredients. For instance, here we have cheese and some of the nachos and crackers. Also, I'm going to transfer the olives and the fig jam that we have into these little containers. You don't have to, you can just present them in the containers that they come with, but this is gonna give a little extra pizzazz to the whole spread. I also wanna leave a little corner, or a big corner, for our Cookie Monster and his cookies to complete our whole spread. Now, if you want to add grapes to whatever, if it's Halloween or New Year's or movie night, grapes go with almost any platter that you're gonna make. But what you wanna do is you want to cut them in little bunches, so people aren't grabbing the whole thing and trying to rip one grape off, or individually having them scattered all over the place. So if you cut them with, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 in a bunch, when the person goes to grab it, he can then have a little snack of grapes. Now, before we get our Cookie Monster to complete our spread, I'm gonna add a little bit of these edible eyes to a few pieces on the spread. Okay, Cookie Monster needs his eyes, so I have 2 toothpicks. I'm going to stick the toothpicks into the pumpkin first and then stab the eyes on. That sounds kind of cruel. Okay, so I realized that the one toothpick is going to be a little too long, so I cut the one in half, and I'm going to attempt to place them somewhat in the right position. Does it look like him? Now all that's left is to add the chocolate chip cookies towards our little monster. Do I dare put one in his mouth? Now, I think this is a great way to introduce new foods for somebody that might be picky with something. And assembling this with your kids or a picky eater could maybe trigger that, oh, I think I'm gonna try this for the first time. Now, whether you celebrate Halloween or not, this is still a very fun way to spice up your party, evening, movie snacks. I think the little eyes add that little touch of Halloween to the whole spread. Can't wait to dig in. And I think Cookie Monster is perfect. He looks a little insane, but I think he is. He's on a sugar high. I go back, way back with Cookie Monster and I think Kermit the Frog. They were my 2 first favorite stuffed animals, and well, I don't know. Well, Kermit's an animal. Is Cookie Monster an animal? Anywhoosie, if I find the oldest picture of me and Cookie Monster, I will put a picture up because Cookie Monster and I go back, way back. All right, let's dig in. Now, one of the best things of a spread with different textures and flavors is you can combine anything and everything together. Now, I want to try a chip with some of the fig jam and a slice of cheddar. I was just gonna say, I'll put fig jam on anything. It'd probably go well with mac and cheese. I mean, I don't know, it's so good. I hope this inspires you and your Halloween treats and spread. Comment below what kind of Halloween treats or traditions you have. I'd love to hear them. And what are you dressing up this year? Or is that a surprise? Because I'd love to hear your exciting and adventurous Halloween plans and grueling stories. I hope you enjoyed our Halloween special. Hit that like button if you did. And remember to subscribe to the channel so you can find your way back for next week's video. Take care now. Happy Halloween.
Little me.